So welcome to Unity of Palm Harbor, this 9/11, 21 years later. You might see some of the beautiful greenery and hummingbirds. We had a really special World Day of Prayer Wednesday night, and we left it up because our children made the hummingbirds, and we just wanted to acknowledge them, their innocence, their colorfulness, and so we thought it would be appropriate, and we left the candles just so that you can feel a little bit of that beautiful energy that permeated throughout when we did our World Day of Prayer. And then, of course, today being the 21st anniversary of 9/11, for some of us, that's been weighing a little heavy. And maybe this year, more than another, not sure exactly why, but it's been really true for me. So before I move on and hand over the platform to JM, let's just take a moment and close those outer eyes. Breathing into this space right here, right now. We honor all of those whose lives transitioned suddenly on 9/11, from the individuals in the towers, for those on the planes, for our first responders, and for all those who came afterward, who may have breathed in the day of death and destruction. We hold this sacred space, loving gently from the airwaves to each family member, to each person who remembers where they were on that particular day, and for each and every child that has been born since that day, who has no idea of what we felt the morning the planes hit the towers. We open up our hearts in forgiveness for anyone that has caused us harm and for any harm that we have caused another. We go deep inside, and we recognize our only true freedom comes when we can let go. Let go of that hatred. Let go of that fear. When we can truly reside within ourselves in a place of peace and calm, knowing our own inner connection to the God of our being, where we find that place where we can rest in safety, where we can know above all knowing that our lives are absolutely perfect the way they are, the way that we were designed to be, that we are already the healers, the knowers. We are the guides. We are the angels. And we just hold this in a sacred moment in the silence. And as we bring our presence back into this room, we feel a warmth, a surge of love, of hope, of rejuvenation. That in chaos, we can step outside of that chaos and recognize the divine within each person present, each person online, each person that we come into contact with. And for this, we are so blessed. We are so blessed. And we say, thank you, God. Amen. So a few of you also may have noticed that we are having our own renewal going on across the way. So thank you for your patience as we're asking you to park back. We don't want any glass or metal in your tires, and we don't even want anyone to get hurt. They started last week, and as you remember, we had a number of storms, and they need to replace our big piece of equipment. They said they're coming back Monday, and hopefully by this time Sunday, we will see a flat space. And we bless that space, yes. We bless that space. But I want everyone to be really safe. So I do appreciate you staying back, especially with the parking, allowing them to do their job and removing what's going to be left of the old building so that we can begin anew. And one more thing, I do want to say everybody who participated in the World Day of Prayer, from our children to our musicians, Reverend Marilyn was praying with me over individual prayers. We want to say thank you. And there was a list for 24 hours of praying, and there might have been 2 or 3 names before that night. And after the service, it was filled up. It was filled up. So we carried on the 24-hour prayer vigil, even from our home space. And for that, thank you. Thank you for being that angel called to pray for our world. It's a global movement once a year in unity worldwide. And for that, I say thank you. Thank you. And I'm now going to introduce JM as our platform assistant.
Good morning, my brothers and sisters. And good morning to all of you joining us online today. I remember what I was doing on September 11th. I was sitting in an instructional company meeting in Tampa when one of my co-workers who had gone out to the restroom came back in with the news that the trade tower had been crashed into. Initially, of course, we all thought it was an accident. Accidents happen. And I'm old enough to remember what I was doing the day that President John F. Kennedy was assassinated. I won't bore you with that. In keeping with the solemnity of today's ceremony, I will read today's announcements uninterrupted, after which I will offer some inspirational words on heroism and self-sacrifice. That's just for the folks beyond the bushes over there. Today's flowers were arranged by and are for Linda Potts for her birthday, from Bridget. Our prayer chaplain today is Cynthia Barnes, to support you in confidential prayer by the stained glass windows up front after the service. Please leave the sanctuary promptly after service so folks requesting prayer can hear our chaplains when they speak. Today's daily word will be read by Tony Klein. Our greeters today, our ushers, are Denise Carr and Tony Klein. And our musicians, which I welcome back enthusiastically to this platform, are Christine Mariani and Denny Falzone, both of whom have graced this platform in years past. We're certainly happy to see them back. Now, Denny, being the truly multi-talented type that he is, not only plays a wicked guitar, he also does handcrafts. And this happens to be a 9/11 peace bird, little dove, that he makes out of avocado seeds. These are available in the lobby after the service if you would like to take a look at them. I think they're on a little table out there. Our audio-visual support team, Rob Earhart, Ryan Mills, Mark Blair, Bob Filbert. Wednesday morning at 10 a.m., A Course in Miracles, facilitated by Alicia and Conferlit. Wednesday evening, 7 p.m., Greg and Nina. Come and listen to the gong and Nina's meditative wisdom. Please bring your mats. Thursday morning, 10 a.m., yoga. Link is on vacation, but Deanna Gray is here, and she is a wonderful teacher. There is a big fun event coming, so please mark your calendar, the September 22nd Fall Equinox with Katie and Rehan. Rehan plays the didgeridoo, and Katie is a fire dancer. So come join us in the parking lot at 7 p.m. for Shedding the Past and Igniting the Truth. There's a suggested love offering of $20. Notice, we now have a business exchange bulletin board by the office and feast shelves. Do you want to share what you do with your community? Put up a business card or a brief note so that we can support one another. Whatever your talent may be, landscaping, personal cookery, interior design, teaching a musical instrument, share it. The fall program, featuring the 5 agreements, is now ready for you to sign up. Reverend Marilyn will be in the foyer after service to answer questions. We have 4 home groups from Palm Harbor, Clearwater, Safety Harbor, and Tarpon Springs. And we have 3 groups that will meet at the church at different times. Sorry. Now listen closely. For those of you who visit us online only, Reverend Tracey is going to do a Zoom class covering the same fall program on Monday nights at 7 p.m., beginning October 3rd for 7 weeks. Go to our homepage, unityofpalmharbor.org. There is a registration link in the text beneath the announcement picture. The link says, click here to register. Just click and go. The only cost is $12, so we can mail you the fall program booklet that Reverend Marilyn designed. This series is for our online audience, and we would love to include you in our fall program. Or if you prefer, call the office, register and pay with Gretchen, Tuesday through Thursday, and that number is 727-784-7911. Now, hear this. Joseph Campbell said, "A hero is someone who has given his or her life to something bigger than oneself." Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "A hero is no braver than an ordinary man, but he is brave 5 minutes longer." Barack Obama said, "Greatness is never free. It must be earned. Fighting for what you think is right is always worth it." Change is brought about because ordinary people do extraordinary things. Arthur Ashe said, "True heroism is remarkably sober, very undramatic. It is not the urge to surpass all others at whatever cost, but the urge to serve others at whatever cost." Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "It is one of the beautiful compensations of life that no man can sincerely try to help another without helping himself." Thomas Merton said, "Peace demands the most heroic labor and the most difficult sacrifice. It demands greater heroism than war. It demands greater fidelity to the truth and a much more perfect purity of conscience." Barack Obama said, "It's important to make sure that we're talking with each other in a way that heals, not in a way that wounds." And he said, "Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are the change that we seek." And Abraham Lincoln said, "In a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot concentrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and the government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. And now we're going to have the mission statement. If you'll all join me in saying this together. To advance well-being by sharing compassion and inclusiveness with integrity and spirituality. Now we'll have special music with Christine and Denny playing I Will Remember You.
I'm so tired, but I can't sleep. Standing on the edge of something much too deep. Funny how we feel so much, but we can't say a word. We're screaming inside, we can't be heard. I will remember you. Will you? So afraid to love you, more afraid to lose. I'm clinging to the past that doesn't let me choose. And once there was darkness, deep and endless nights. You gave me everything and you gave me life. I will remember you. Will you? Don't you let your life pass you by, and weep not for the memory. I will remember you. Will you remember me? Don't you let your life pass you by, and weep not for
Good morning, good morning, good morning. When I first came in here today, I had a little brief chat with Reverend Tracey. I told her I was a little melancholy, which most of us probably are or have been, you know, and then I remembered, you know, the promise of everlasting life and being able to see our loved ones when we cross over, and that reminds me that we have to honor them by living the best life we can here in this life, right here and right now, and telling the people that we love them and that we cherish them. So I'm grateful to be here and love you guys.
We love you too.
Love you guys, yeah. Whew, hope I can get through this. Okay, remembrance. You live in my heart, whether they have passed on recently or many years ago. The people from whom I have cared deeply are alive in my heart. If I feel sad or lonely for those I miss, I pause to recall a special memory or something unique about them that made even ordinary days feel magical. Reflecting on the love and joy we shared and blessings their lives afforded me, I feel comforted. I am thankful that these memories will always be mine to treasure. I know that life does not end with death. Life is eternal, and my loved ones will always be beautiful, beloved expressions of spirit. I am grateful those who have passed from this life experience continue to live in spirit and more and are forever in my heart. From Psalms 112, for the righteous will never be moved. They will be remembered forever.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk to you again, because a vision softly speaking that my seeds while I was sleeping, and the visions that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. And restless dreams I walk alone. There are streets of cobblestone beneath the halo of the street lamp. Turn my collar in the golden damp. When my eyes were stabbed by the flash of the neon lights that split the night and touched the sounds of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talk without speaking, people hear without listening, people writing songs that the voices never shared. No one dared disturb the sound of silence. Fools said you do not know silence cancer grows. Hear my words and might teach you. Take my arms and might reach you. But my words, like a silent raindrops, fell, and echoes will the wails of silence. And people bowed and they prayed to the neon gods they made. The sign flashed out without its warnings, and the words that was forming said the words of a prophet are written on the subway walls and tenement halls and whispered of silence.
Christine and Denny, I feel like we're continuing with the World Day of Prayer. Thank you. That's just awesome. So I'm going to invite you now, as we prepare for meditation, to close those outer eyes and allow the chair to fully support you. And I'm going to take you on a little journey. I want you to pretend in your mind's imagination that you are the photographer on 9/11 who took the picture of the firemen raising Old Glory. And the story goes like this. Your day began at 8 a.m., September 11th, 2001. An editor told you a plane hit the World Trade Center. You head down the New Jersey Turnpike to Jersey City. You heard about the crash of United Flight 175 into the South Tower. You stop at the exchange place in Jersey City and you go to the riverfront. As a veteran of the news coverage, you know exactly where the best views of the World Trade Center would be. You put a new memory card into your camera. You witnessed the ferries crossing the wounded persons and the establishment of a triage. And you take photos of all of this. By noon, the ferries begin to taper off. Another photographer convinces the police to let you and he take a tugboat to New York. The police threaten to arrest you as you come too close. Finally, around 4 or 5 p.m., you're having some water and your friend is having some juice. And a trio of firefighters catch your eye. You later report the story. I would say I was 150 yards away when I saw the firefighters raising the flag. They were standing on a structure about 20 feet or so from the ground. I had a long lens picture, about 100 yards between the foreground and the background. And the long lens would capture the enormity of the rubble behind them. Those 3 firefighters were William Ezegran, George Johnson, and Daniel McWilliams. They had discovered a U.S. flag on the back of a yacht inside a boat slip at the World Financial Center. And they took the banner and decided to raise it as a statement of loyalty and resistance. I made the picture standing underneath what may have been one of the elevated walkways, possibly the one that had connected the World Trade Plaza and the World Financial Center. As soon as I shot it, I realized the similarity to the famous image of the Marines raising the flag at Hiroshima. This was an important shot. It told more than just death and destruction. It said something to me about the strength of the American people and of these firemen having to battle the unimaginable. The firefighters of Engine 255 and Ladder 157 of Brooklyn had been digging in the rubble and searching for survivors. When they were told to evacuate, the weakened structure was close to collapse. During the evacuation, McWilliams, 35, of Long Island, saw the yacht Star of America, owned by Shirley Dreyfus of the Majestic Star Company in New York, and he took the flag and its pole from the stern and rolled it up so it would not touch the ground. He took it to the evacuation area. The Old Glory itself was American-made, originated from Eder Flag Manufacturing of Oak Creek, Wisconsin. McWilliams of Ladder 157 passed a co-worker, Johnson, 36 years of age, from Rockaway Beach, Queens. He slapped Johnson on the shoulder and said, "Give me a hand, would you?" Eingrein of Rescue 2 from Brooklyn saw them and said, "Do you need another hand?" He was also a childhood friend of McWilliams. The firefighters found a flagpole within the rubble about 20 feet off the ground on West Street. They used an improvised ramp to climb the pole to raise that flag. As they performed their act, Franklin aimed your long lens camera in their direction, and you heard fire personnel. "Good job. Way to go." Every pair of eyes that saw that flag got a little brighter. And the three firemen decided to raise the flag on the spur of the moment. McWilliams said, "A big part of this is maintaining the unity of the whole team. This is where we come in, maintaining our unity of the whole team, where we see light for others where it is dim, where we hold that sacred space in our hearts as others traverse through hardship, through death, through moments of despair. We hold the light for them." Let's take a moment in the silence, allowing whatever comes through for you to be in the fullness of light. And as your consciousness comes back into the room, I'm going to share a few words of Robin Williams. You may remember he did a beautiful skit as the flag. He said, "It's not very chic to put up the flag anymore, but don't look at it as saluting me. Look at it as saluting yourselves. I'm just a flag, a symbol. You're the people, if I may say so. Long may you wave. Long may you wave. And so it is. Amen.
Some say love, it is a river that drowns a tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Some say love, it is a hunger, an endless aching. I say love, it is a flower, and youth's only seed is the heart afraid of breaking, that never learns to dance, is the dream afraid of waking, that never takes the chance. It's the one who won't be taken, who cannot seem to give, and the soul afraid of dying, that never learns to live. When the night's been too lonely and the road's been too long, and you think that love is only for the lucky and the strong, just remember, in the winter, beneath the bitter snow, lies the seed that with the sun's love in the spring becomes the rose. Is the heart afraid of breaking, that never learns to dance? Is the dream afraid of waking, that never takes the chance? Well, it's the one who won't be taken, who cannot seem to give, and the soul afraid of dying, that never learns to live. When the night's been too lonely and the road has been too long, and you think that love is only for the lucky and the strong, just remember, in the winter, far beneath the bitter snow, lies the seed that with the sun's love in the spring comes the rose. When the night has been too lonely and the road has been too long, don't you think that love is only for the lucky and strong? Just remember in the winter, far beneath the bitter snow, lies the sea that with the sun's love in the spring comes the rose.
Wow, that was really awesome. Thank you. Thank you both. Christine and I talked a couple weeks ago, and I was just feeling really heavy around 9/11 and walking through my own personal journey. And she had a couple ideas for songs, and I had a couple ideas for songs, and now you see what was birthed from that. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. And I want to share, I think sometime last week, Rob and I came to do the PowerPoint film strip, if you will, and we just played the Rose over and over and over to try to get the timing right. And he said to me, "That's like that Worm song. It's never going to leave my head." And I said, "Try me at home, right in the sermon, 40, 50 times." But it was so beautiful, and you guys did a tremendous job. Thank you so much. Thank you. I imagine anybody over the age of 21 probably knows exactly where they were the morning of 9/11. I know for me, I had an elementary school son and a middle school daughter, and I was sitting at the front of his school welcoming visitors in. You know, the mom who forgot the lunchbox, the dad who came for an early release for a doctor's appointment. And I sat there all smiles, greeting. It was the one thing out of my banking career I got to do as a volunteer piece, and I tried to do it once a week. And I remember from the office hearing a scream from one of the people working in the office. And then everybody was buzzing around. Oh, it had to be an accident. There's no way that happened on purpose. Oh my God, what's happening? And very shortly after that, the second plane hit the other tower. And now we know it's not an accident. Little did I know that the air traffic controllers now were on guard, and they were listening for everything in the air. And they were trying to follow another plane that was aiming for the White House, possibly. And we know what happened there. So that particular morning, my job was about 45 minutes away. And I remember arriving at the office, and my boss said, "Everybody go home. We don't know what's going to happen next." And I shared with Rob, here we are 21 years later, and my heart is still so heavy. And maybe because as a mother, when I got home, I sat in front of that TV, like probably most of America. And we asked the questions, is this going to be nuclear? What's happening? How can so much hatred be concentrated in one place? And I sat there in front of that TV and I heaved horrible sobs, just snot blowing, just crushing sobs, all of it. And I remember thinking, I can't go get my children. We don't know what's going to happen, and they weren't 5 minutes away. And I could have driven to the school and pulled them out. But see, I was their hero. I was their supermom. And I wasn't that day, because I couldn't have protected them. I think we learned that we couldn't have protected anybody that day. And so we open our hearts and our minds. How much do we really control in our lives? I think Tony said it beautifully when he did approach me this morning, and we both have been feeling this heaviness. And he said, it is our job to love fully, to live fully in the presence of all. Because we don't know when that time is going to come that it's going to change. We have people in our congregation that has blessed me and honored me and allowed me to serve them when they've said goodbye to loved ones, whether it was a spouse or a mom. And somewhere in that June-July period, we did 4 celebration of life services. And that can feel heavy, but it's also extremely honoring to sit down with family members and allow them to share the joy and the stories and the life of someone that they loved. It's even more honoring if I get the blessed privilege of walking through the end of life with them, to give them hope, to pray with them, to hold that sacred space with them. And so when we're looking at 9/11, not only do we know the story of one of the greatest tragedies on American soil, we also look beyond that. We look at our own grief. And there's no magic formula to grief. There's no one and done. There's no, oh, it's 21 years later, get over it. For some of us, that grief will last a lifetime. We may learn better how to manage our own sorrow, and there may be times that a song comes up that we completely lose it. And that's okay. Because the relationship we have with the people we love who transition into a different form, and we hold that their spirit is still up there flying and soaring, not unlike, have you seen Paddington walking Queen Elizabeth to her beloved? Well done, good and faithful servant. Almost 70 years. Good and faithful servant. So we do see the flying high, because it's us, those of us who stand still here, that we feel that grief. And there may have been a time and a moment when people said, that's enough, you're done. But it's whatever relationship you had with the person you loved. You may never be done, and that's okay. That's okay. I want to share something from a beautiful minister in Unity, Reverend Ogun Holder. And a number of years ago, he lost his wife to cancer. And he shares a little bit of his journey in this beautiful little printout, Gratitude and Grace. Some of you may have heard a quote by Rumi that says, the wound is the place where the light enters you. And he invites us to understand the full poem. He says, fewer of us, however, might have read the entire poem. It said, I said, what about my eyes? He said, keep them on the road. I said, what about my passion? He said, keep it burning. I said, what about my heart? He said, tell me what you hold inside it. I said, pain and sorrow. He said, stay with it. The wound is the place where the light enters you. And Ogun's talking to us about his own personal experience. And he says, from my own experience, I can tell you that it takes time for the light to enter. For a while, it seemed as if my heart were inevitably broken, not fractured, but broken. And all I felt was pain and sorrow. Then ever so slowly, without my even realizing it, the light did indeed begin to creep back in, like dim rays around the edges of the blackout curtains in my bedroom. As I wallowed in the long list of what I had lost with my wife, I found myself being thankful for the same things on that list. I lost someone who walked beside me through good times and bad. I could be grateful for the fun-filled moments that brought smiles and laughter, as well as the tough times that deepened our bond and helped elevate me to higher versions of myself. I lost the mother of my child, and I give thanks every day for the amazing daughter we raised, who would make any mother proud, especially our own. I lost a partner in ministry, and thankfully, I am the minister I am now because of how we supported and challenged each other. I lost a lover, and through loving her, I learned to love myself. By allowing myself to feel gratitude amongst the chaotic swells of grief, I find myself today in a state of grace. I didn't and couldn't imagine this 3 years ago. I experienced the fullness of life with a deeper appreciation and sense of abundance as never before, and I take nothing for granted. My grief journey continues, and it continues to transform me. It's not an adversary to be avoided, but an ally to be embraced. My cracked open heart remains exposed and vulnerable, light streaming in both directions. Now listen. You see, those cracks don't only let the light in, they also let the light shine out. Those cracks don't only let the light in, they also let the love shine out. So as we are remembering this day, this 9/11 day, one of the greatest tragedies that took place in America on our soil, may we also remember the gifts, a time when our nation, unlike any other time in my lifetime, came together. There was no difference in politicians or political systems. There was only generosity and grace and love and caring. We flew our flags across the interstates, across the bridges, at our homes. I will even say I went to New York City the following year, and it was softer. People talked to each other. We communicated. We reached out to family and friends we hadn't talked to in years. We posted on our social media, "I love you. I love you. Hear me." So maybe in these great times of tragedy, the gifts are equally as deep if we allow them to be. So if your heart is a little heavy this 9/11 day, I invite you to sit in all that it means to you and to recognize where we've come from and that our flag is still standing. Amen.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies and emerald waves of gray, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for pilgrims meet, for stern impassioned stress, a thoroughfare of freedom beats across the truth in liberating strife. Ooh, more than self, their country loved, and mercy more than life. America, America, may God thy glory find, till all success be nobleness, and every gain divine. Oh, beautiful for patriot dream, see beyond the years, thine alabaster and city gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. God bless America.
Do we have any little kids to come in this morning? Let's do our love offering for this morning. If we have our ushers come forward. And please join me in this offering prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And now, you guys know you are walking in the light. You guys got no song. No, you can sing it. It's okay. All right, well, just, you want to just vamp something? Yeah.
We'd like to invite the children to come through if they're there.
Do you want to do the traditional closing prayer? Okay. Together, folks. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Amen. Now we're ready.
Let there be peace. Yeah, thank you. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with blessed day, everyone.
I guess we should learn that we are walking in the light. I forgot about that. Yeah, forgot about that.